What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of Button Bounces back our F1 2015 career mode that we are doing with Jenson Button and McLaren, and welcome to Bahrain. Once again, I think I'm probably going to always skip out practice at this point. In the first episode I did practice, qualifying and the race I showed you. I've still actually done practice, but I just think it takes up a bit too much time when you're throwing in everything else into the equation as well. So we're going to be jumping straight into qualifying, but straight off the bat today, because I always forget to do this until the end of the video. If you would smash the thumbs up button, that would be absolutely superb. I would really appreciate it, and also click that little subscribe button if you're not subscribed to me already to make sure you never miss a video. But yeah, Bahrain is one of those tracks similar to the last one we had. For the life of me, I can't remember what the last track that we did was, but it's similar. I can remember in the fact that I know it, but I don't know it incredibly well. And it's another track actually that has got a couple of really freaking long straights, which doesn't play into the hands of the McLaren, as we've spoken about many times. But as you can see in the qualifying, we're currently sitting 10th position, but we've got the huge straight coming up now. You can see we don't take the corner, the greatest, lose a couple of positions and get them straight back. But you'll see we'll drop back a couple of places now because this straight's just going to kill us. And thankfully, on this track, this corner here is a saviour to us. I don't know why, but we seem to be able to take that corner so much better than the computer. I don't quite know what it is, but sometimes you do find this on certain tracks. You just have those sort of one or two corners that you seem to be able to take a lot better than them, and it plays into our hands. We take that one really well as well. I should point out as well, in practice we only ended up coming something like 16th, 17th after a good few laps because I wanted to get used to the track again. So I didn't actually hold out much hope for this whatsoever, but you can see we take one more place on that last turn, and we managed to finish in 8th place in qualifying, which I was absolutely over the moon with. In the last episode we managed to gain our first points of the championship. I think it was our first point actually. We got 1 point for 10th, and you know, if we can keep on building on that, that's all we need to do. Keep on building and building. Like I said, our target now for the season is to finish in the top 10, so hopefully we can get a nice steady finish in this race. And what a race it turns out to be as well. Like I said, it's not a track that I know the best, but it turns basically into a three-way duel with me, Ricciardo and Felipe Massa in the points, and it's absolutely end-to-end, just constant changing, and like I said, it's a really exciting race. You can see the grid again here now. Fernando Alonso once again not doing the team any favours, qualifying in 17th. He always seems to qualify really low and then pick up a few places, but he never seems to be quite in the points. But there's ourselves there, sitting in 8th place. Fantastic qualifying session from ourselves. Like I say, we always seem to be there or thereabouts with Daniel Ricciardo. He's turning into a bit of a rival for this series at the moment. Every race we seem to be dueling with him, and like I said, today's no different. But we get a decent start on every single race up to this point. I think we've been taken over straight away on the straight, but you can see we get slightly passed on the left hand side by Grosjean, but we go with some balls into this first corner, and I thought, you know what, we're going to take a tight inside line, try and take a couple of positions. We get up to 6th, drop back to 7th with Massa, but then he manages to sort of pull out of it a little bit, so we do hold on to 6th, and straight away you can see behind us the three-way duel that's going to start unravelling as the race goes on. It's me, Massa and Ricciardo, like I've already mentioned. We're going to show the whole first lap though, and for some reason, for a track that's got two such prominent straights on it, and with straight line speed not being our greatest asset, we seem to really do well around here. I don't know what caused it, like I said, because we were absolutely terrible in practice, but qualifying and race day, we really turned it on. I mean, you can see us here matching Bottas, who's in 5th place. 5th always seems to be our target, so I was, you know, at this point I was like, oh my god, if we can get 5th and sort of hold him off. But there's sort of a group of cars. I think the Williams, the McLarens obviously, and the Ferraris are just way too quick for us, whereas the Red Bulls and the who does Massa could be Williams actually, but the Red Bulls in particular, they are quicker than us. We seem to be able to just about hold them off a lot of the time. But you can see first lap we are keeping up with the Williams here of Bottas. I'm sure he's Williams, I'm sure Bottas is Williams, but this basically is the pattern of the race. The corners we seem to be a lot better round than the computer in this course, but the straights they just pull out a little bit more, particularly these front few who end up pulling away from us, to be honest, after a couple of laps. We can't match them in the straights, but you'll see in a second from our three-way duel with Raikkonen and Massa. In fact, I don't need to talk, this explains it more than anything, to be honest. You can see this is the first straight, Massa comes around the outside, around the inside, sorry. Me managed to hold the line around the outside and just about hold him off. And then the same can be said again in just a second. We seem to be quite quick through this little complex of corners here. You've got a quick right, a quick left, then into a hard braking hairpin. I don't know if you quite class this as a hairpin, but it's a pretty sharp right hand turn, and then into another very sharp left hand turn. Around that little section we seem decent, but if we need to be, because if we're not a certain amount of time ahead of the computer by this corner here, there's a DRS zone, and as you look behind me in a second you'll see they're right behind us again, and you need to, like I say, you just need to have a certain gap. I don't know what the gap was exactly, I know it's a second for DRS, but even without the DRS we're managing to hold them off just about. You can see again that corner we seem to be so much better around the computer than, and that was pretty much the theme of the race. That little section there, we'd lose the position briefly, we'd gain it back around the right hand turn, and then it'd be back to square one. That seemed to be, like I say, pretty much the pattern of the race. But let me know how you're all getting on, if you're playing this game yourselves, if you're still enjoying it, or what team you're using. I know a couple of people have messaged me on Twitter saying that they were using, I think one subscriber, you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember who it is. There's someone that's doing a McLaren one with Alonso, and then there's a fellow YouTuber that's also doing another one with Alonso as well. So McLaren are clearly a popular pick, but that's a big moment, that is. I'll put it in slow motion so you can see behind us there's a little bit of a ruckus. Me and Massa, completely my fault really, I'm surprised we didn't get a warning for it, kind of coming together. There's a little bit of a ruckus with a couple of other computer cars coming together behind me after the incident, but somehow Ricciardo, I said Raikkonen earlier, it's Ricciardo that's in the steward, it's not Raikkonen. Those two, him and Massa, seem to come out of it clean. It's Sebastian Grosjean that really comes out worst in that scenario, if I remember correctly. He seems to get a little, not quite spun around, but hit enough to really throw him off and lose him a couple of seconds. But you can see we're coming to the pits now, holding down that 5th place. I think we're actually in 6th at this point because of the pitting scenario that's going on and other people not pitting. But realistically, our track position was 6th at this point. We were just ahead of Ricciardo and Massa. I keep going to say Raikkonen, I don't know why. I think it was him we were dueling with in the last race. But unfortunately, we lose out to both of them in the pits. Real kick in the balls that was. I think it was in the last race that I managed to outpit them, and I was saying at the time, you know, that is so rare. You never ever seem to outpit the computer. They always seem to outpit you, and this is an example of it. But one thing with the computer, when they come out the pits, they are slow as hell when they're getting their tyres warmed up, and I thought, you know what, let's try and take advantage. Massa was the first one, he's 7th at this point, like I say. Managed to get up close behind him coming into this next corner here. Like I said, we don't seem to be too slow on the straights on this track. I don't know what it is, it's bizarre, but they don't seem to pull away too much. We managed to get really close, him and Ricciardo, like I say, it turns into a 3-way duel for these positions at this time. And nice and tight behind him. I thought, you know what, as long as we can be tight for the DRS zone, we might be able to take him. I'll try a little outside to inside move here, but he manages to just about hold me off. But we stay with it and managed to come out just about on top here, I believe. I think he backs out of it in the end. There's a little bit of a coming together. He backs down, he lets us through, and we get the position. And this is what I mean about this end corner. Now you will see Daniel Ricciardo has got a sizable gap on us. He's got a quicker car, even though we've got we actually haven't got DRS at this point, but he's got a quicker car. You can see him absolutely pulling away from us here. Look at the gap there, it's probably about a second gap. Then this corner, we absolutely get right up his backside. It is crazy. I don't know how we're that much quicker than the computer around there, but we actually, you will see something that we have not seen in this entire series so far right now. We turn onto this straight, and this is what I mean about the Red Bulls. They're still a bit quicker than us, but when we're right behind them and we're in their the drafting zone, beg my pardon, but we're catching him up. We're actually catching up another car on a straight. That is something that we have so rarely seen. And lo and behold, we're right behind him for this straight now, the start-finish straight, sorry. Get the DRS in the go, and just, this is a miracle. Look at this. We absolutely fly past Ricciardo. That is something that we have not seen in this entire series so far, us passing a sort of a rival car on the straights. It is just so unusual, but we managed to hold him off just about through that section, and we were back into 6th place. Like I said, it was really good, but then we zoomed forward to lap 11. It had been the same all the way through again, this sort of us taking the corners quicker, then catching up on the straights. This time, I thought I had Massa on the inside here, but he manages to hold his line really, really well. And one thing I will say, it's a three-way duel, like I've already said, with me, Massa and Ricciardo. When Ricciardo was behind me, I didn't feel anywhere near as threatened as when Massa was behind me. Massa seemed to have so much more ability to get past and manage to hold off Ricciardo so much better. But we zoom all the way forward now to the last lap. What actually happened here was Massa pulled away a bit, and I managed to stick with him, and with the DRS and drafting off him, I managed to then pull away from Ricciardo. And like I said, Ricciardo just was nowhere near as much of a threat. P7, I thought, you know what, there's a chance for us to get another position here. We'll threaten Massa. We stuck it up to rich fuel mix, see what we could do. We had a little bit spare in the tank, and it turns into a really, really exciting last lap because, again, I've said it many a time in this video, they pull away a bit in the straights, we reel them in the corners, and it ends up being a super close finish. But nevertheless, 6th also, and I was really happy with this race. One thing I was thinking at the time was, I want to get the position back, off Massa, but at the same time I don't want to cause an incident and like crash out or anything ridiculous like that, because any points for Button at this point in the championship are invaluable. You can see we get right up close behind him there. Had to actually back off a little bit, and that cost us a little bit of time going into this next straight, and I was a bit disappointed because I was like, if I'd have been a bit slower and a bit more cautious but still right behind him rather than going for perhaps a pass that was never going to happen, I would have been right behind him here for the DRS. Thankfully we still were in a DRS zone, but like I said before, with Massa it just doesn't seem to make any difference like it did with Ricciardo. But we are superb around this corner, like I've already said. Managed to get right up behind him. The race is just finished. First place is taken, then checkered flag, which was surprisingly Kimi Räikkönen. I mean, he's been pretty much a Mercedes domination from up to this point so far, but nice to see someone else actually winning the race. You can see we're right behind Massa coming into the final corner of the race, but as I'm sure you can expect at this point, we're just not quite close enough to make a pass. But we do manage to hold off Ricciardo, which was at this point as well, like I say, main priority. Didn't want to lose out another position, didn't want to cause an incident, wanted to bring home the points for Jenson Button and for McLaren, and this would be our best finish of the championship so far. Really fantastic result for us at Bahrain. 7th place, picking up 3 points, I believe it is, for 7th. Is it 3 points? Ah no, it's 6 points. 6 points, sorry, not 3, so doubling the emergency point. Well, we got 1 point in the last race, 6 in this one, which takes us up to 7 in total. Check out that maths skill there. But Fernando Alonso, once again, qualified 17th, finished 14th. Like I say, he always seems to gain a couple of positions and qualify terribly, but I was extremely happy with the way that turned out. It puts us into 8th place, I believe, in the overall championships. No, sorry, 10th place. Puts us into 10th place, which is where we want to be. We're aiming for that top 10 finish, and we are just about holding on to it right now. But like I say, I was extremely happy with how that went, and we're actually heading into Catalonia in the next round, which is a track that I really, really like as well. So hopefully we'll be able to get a repeat performance there. But thank you very much for watching. Like I say, if you enjoyed, smash the thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed, and I will speak to you in tomorrow's video. Nidge out. I want to say it's a standard BPL team, but there's a lot of OP plays in there, the likes of the Kaku, Sterling, Sturridge, and we actually get absolutely murdered by Sturridge and go 1-0 down after